G'day gang, we've had some requests, so this episode we're going to answer 3 of those for you. The first request we're going to look at today is, does the transmission hunt in and out of 10th gear when sitting at 100 kilometres an hour at about the weight that we are? Second request is asking about the perceived blind spots from the side mirrors. The third request we're going to have a look at is, what's the snorkel noise like when sitting on 100 kilometres an hour? If you've got anything that you'd like to know, pop it in the comment below and we'll do our best to get some footage organised. We already have a few other requests that we're organising the footage for. You'll see them sometime over the next few episodes.
Hello and welcome to Audrey the Icon Adventures. I'm Connie.
And I'm Daryl.
And this is Audrey the Icon.
Okay, one of our viewers had a request asking about whether at our current weight, which today is about 3.5 tonne, just over 3.5 tonne, if Rocky hunts in and out of 10th gear. I've put it into tow haul mode so I can see what gear we're in, and we'll move the camera in a bit to show you that. I'll just deal with this traffic first. I don't know if you can see it down here. You'll see we're in 10 out of 10. And we're sitting on 105, we're on flattish road.
Whoops, sorry about bumps.
We are not using the gimbal at the moment, just for quick ease and convenience of doing these little viewer requests. And you see that he just sits in 10th quite comfortably. Now, if I go back to normal mode, I don't know how to show what gear we're in, so that's why I've left it in tow mode. And I better get back to the speed limit. Here we go. There we go. Sitting on 104. How about we set the cruise? Set the cruise. It's so long since I've driven this car.
Set it.
There we go. There's no one behind us, that's good. And we bump it up to 104. All right. Here we go. I've got the camera now. Doesn't mean it'll be any more stable. So I'll show you our view out front. So there's a nice flat bit of road here, a little bit of undulation in it, not much. And we get down here, nice view of the dash cluster. We're in tow haul mode and we're still sitting in 10th gear. So at about 3.5 tonne or a little bit over. No, we're not towing at the moment. Just sits in 10th gear nice. Extremely rare for us to get into 10th gear when towing. Most of the time we're in 9th gear. Hopefully that answered the query about the transmission hunting between 9th and 10th gear while sitting at 100 with some weight on board. Looks like they've got the programming in the TCM and the ECU all sorted out for that, and the answer is the only hunting is me struggling to hold this camera steady for you. I hope that helped answer that inquiry, and thank you for that inquiry. Here's another request from one of our viewers, and their question was about what's the blind spots like with the mirrors. As you may or may not know, Connie, compared to me, is quite short. I've got the camera looking from over her left shoulder at the moment.
Because you sit higher than the mirror, I think it's fine.
That has the camera up at Connie's eye level, as if she was looking out over the mirror. Now Connie has the seat pushed up to make it easier for her to see what's going on. All right, and that's just to give you her perspective, holding the camera at the same height. If I do it from the passenger side, so you just have to imagine this in reverse, I sit higher than Connie so I can see over the mirror even easier. I'll do the same bit of footage with me in the driver's seat, and we'll see if we can get it while we're driving along as well. It's just to show that for us, we don't find that the mirrors causes a grief with seeing anything. We'll get up into town here, we're on slightly narrower streets, and just see what that's like for us. I've got the camera right up at my eye level, You can see that the top of the mirror is roughly halfway between the gutter and the front property line, and it's quite low. Therefore, blind spot wise for me, very, very little. We're in a typical street that's about 3 car widths wide. Park a car either side and drive down the middle comfortably. That's about all. I have my seating position, so I sit up fairly high. That's my view out the left-hand side. Works quite good. Top of my head is probably 1.5 inches down from the roof liner. Gives me a nice angle at the dash cluster. I can see out over the bonnet, especially to that left front corner. Very handy for when we're in low. I find it's the A-pillar in modern cars that creates a bigger blind spot than the mirrors. Now you may think, oh, the Snorkel's adding to it a lot. The Snorkel is literally just this little bit down the side here. Very, very little of blind spot is being created by the Snorkel. I'm about 6'5", I'm sitting in here. I don't have the seat the whole way down because I don't find that comfortable. To everyone that thinks that these mirrors are too big and cause a lot of blind spot, let's see some footage. It would be interesting to see what your viewing range is. As you saw earlier in this episode, Connie was driving along the highway and we didn't seem to have much of an issue there with the mirror causing blind spots. My comment about the A-pillar, you may have had Connie agree with me that yes, it's the A-pillar that blinks out a lot more than what the mirror does. All right, this is going to be a bit bouncy as we're driving along. We've got 104 on the speedo, so that means we're doing about 100. I'm not using the gimbal, that's why it's going to be a bit jerky. We had one of our viewers ask a question about the snorkel noise while we're driving along. We thought, what better opportunity than to do that while we're out on the smooth road, so you got the better chance of hearing the snorkel. You can hear the ambient noise in here. We don't have the rear seat cushion in just at the moment, so that makes it a bit louder. We'll get down here and we'll hold the microphone up to various places along the A-pillar next to where the snorkel is, and that'll give you an idea of the noise that it makes. Here we are in the 100 zone. Obviously I'm in the passenger seat, so I'll just show you the microphone we're using here. It's just a little roadie, and I'll stop talking and that way I can insert the audio that this microphone is picking up from in this area. There we go, and we'll just get down here and we're going to do the same thing over on the passenger side, over on the driver's side. Here we go. Right, so with that bit of audio, you'll be able to hear the snorkel noise, which, if I sit here and listen quietly, is virtually negligible.
Don't tend to hear it on the open highway. It's more when we're forward driving and stuff and we're upping and downing. I haven't really noticed it that much. It does the occasional woof, woof, woof noise, but not continuously.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's the turbo flutter when you're on and off the accelerator at slow speed that you'll notice it much more so than when you're cruising along at 100. The wind noise from the snorkel being out in the wind like that doesn't, gosh, people are hopeless at driving. Mm-hmm. The wind noise with the snorkel out like that really is negligible. There's more noise in this cabin because we don't, and you'll see over my shoulder there or behind me, that we don't have the rear cushion for the seat in at the moment. We can hear the tyre noise back there, and you hear more noise from the headboard of the tray. In behind that aluminium box is the cabin vent, and that makes most of the wind noise inside the vehicle. When we didn't have that box on there, it was surprisingly loud. When the vent opened up, you could hear everything from outside clear as day.
Every ping.
And all the little stones. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what the wind noise while you're driving along with regards to the snorkel and the front of the tray is.
Yeah, it's quite a quiet ride, really.
Thanks for those requests. Hopefully what we showed you answered those questions for you. And again, if there's anything you'd like to know, just drop a comment below and we'll get it sorted out for you. Happy travels.